Sup, guys? It's Khoai Tây, or Anyao, or Rich, or Frank, or whatever the hell you want to call me, coming at you solo today. So let's just go over what I talked about before, because I'm going to build on that. We talked about a triad, and a triad is three notes that are a third apart. In this case, we're talking major triads. So we have our root, we have our third, we have our fifth. Now that's not very useful because it's only on two strings, and we can use triads to build chords if we're on three strings, right? So I taught you guys some shapes. We have the first one. And I'm sure Papa Bear has edited some glorious image that will make it even clearer what I'm playing right now. And then we have second, third, and guess what? There's a fourth inversion that I'm going to teach you right now, which is my pinky is on the 8th fret of the E, then 7th fret of the A, and then 5th fret of the D. Rad, right? So we have four ways of playing the same triad because you can move this shape up and down the neck, right? So, and that's why it's important, because it's actually super useful and super easy to get your head around. All you need to do is memorize some shapes. There's a pattern, though, that will help you remember. With these shapes, say this first one, when I go to the second one, all I'm doing is I'm moving this highest note. Every time I move a shape, I just move the highest note. Now, where am I moving the highest note to? I'm moving it to the octave. So, octave. That is a note that is 12 frets. Sorry, not 12 frets. Yes, 12 frets. Technically, yeah, 12 frets. 12 frets above or below the same note, right? So if we take an open E, that's an E. That's an E. But it's an octave above. And that's an octave above as well. And this is one of the reasons why I like 24 fret guitars, because you get that extra range, right? You know, you got 3 E's, 3 A's, 3 D's, etc., right? So that's why I like 24 fret guitars. All right, so we take our highest note, we move it to the octave, and the octave is here. So we had first inversion, move that note up here. That's all we do, and we get the second shape. Super easy. I just move one note. Yes, my fingers have to change because it's more comfortable, but all I'm doing is moving one note. Moving my fingers, but just moving one note. Same here. Octave. Yes, my fingers are moving, but only one note is changing here. Same again. Fingers are moving, but only one note is changing. Cool, so that's a really nice and simple way for you to memorize your octaves. Sorry, not octaves, memorize your triads. We do need to talk about octaves, though, because there is a way of memorizing octaves on the fretboard that I think is super useful. All right, so far we've been playing major scale stuff. You know, our major scale triads. The word minor gets thrown around a lot, and I want to explain to you guys what that means. So let's keep it simple to start with. Let's go back to that first major triad shape that I showed you. Sounds real happy and nice and cheerful because it's major. Now, if I take one note, that 5th fret, and I put it 1 fret down to the 4th, suddenly doesn't sound so happy, and that's because it's a minor triad. So all I've done is I've taken my third and I've moved it down 1 fret, and that is what gets called a minor third in music theory, and it's the start of the minor scale. So that's what we call the natural minor scale. Now it has that third down there, that minor third. You could also call it a flat third. That's another term that gets thrown around. If you hear minor third, flat third, they mean the same thing. That's just musicians like using different words to mean the same terms. But still, you might be a bit confused because my finger's down here now, and when I played through that scale, it was up here. And the reason why is because of octaves again. So the same notes just reappearing in different places at the neck at different pitches. So instead of going I went and it's just because it's easier. It's easier for me to do this than it is to go, because my hand has to move a little bit more, that second one, so it decreases speed, it decreases efficiency. All right, so we have that third there. We also have a couple of extra notes that are changed from the major scale as well. So 6 is different there. 7. That 7 is different there as well. They're all flat or minor, if you want to say that, which means 1 fret down from the major. So we got 2 more minor scales there. First one's called the melodic minor, and that's the simplest one for sure, because there's just 1 flat note there, and that's just the third, right? It's just that third. The rest of the notes are the same. And when I say the same, I mean the same as the major scale, so we just flatten the third. The harmonic minor is a bit more interesting. Here, we have the flat third. Hopefully you guys are seeing the pattern here. Every minor scale is going to have that flat third. And we just have a flat 6 as well, but it gives it a really Middle Eastern feel, I guess. Like super Middle Eastern, almost Egyptian kind of feel there. So again, we have that flat third, super important. And then we also just have that flat 6 there. And then we just keep the 7th as it would be normally in the major scale. All right, and then we come back full circle to triads, right? So we had our major triads before. I won't go through all of them. All we need to do is move that third. So this first inversion is nice and simple. Since it's root, third, fifth, we just move that down 1 fret, and then we get our minor triad. And that's all you do for the other inversions, guys. You just move the third, find the third, move it down a fret. Right. Now, triads are also important for bass, a little bit more important sometimes, really, because like when you're playing on bass, you're not normally playing chords. You can, but when you're improvising on bass, you're normally going to stick to the scales, and a lot of bass players will stick to the triads to play because they're the most prominent notes, as we talked about before. So bass players, keep that in mind. You're going to need this as well as the guitar players. And it's something that I'll remind you guys on in my next video, which will be the bass video that I know a lot of you guys are looking forward to. All right, well, I hope you found this useful, guys, and I'll see you in the next one. Let us know what you want us to talk about in a future video.